Hi there, this is your friend Anna, and the question that I've been getting the most from all of my friends is, what are we wearing? This age-old question isn't just about choosing an outfit, it's about choosing how we present ourselves to the world. I created the I Want Her Shoes podcast to dive deep into what it means to dress with intention, whether you're heading to a council meeting or just having a casual day out with your family. Join the conversation as we explore the power of personal style and the decisions that shape our public personas. Put on your favorite pair of shoes and step into my closet. All right, welcome back to the I Want Her Shoes podcast, where we explore style, ambition, reinvention, and women who help us step more confidently into our lives. I'm your host, Anna Annison, and today's conversation is for every woman navigating ambition in a world that's moving fast, especially with AI. Because let's be honest, AI can feel overwhelming, noisy, and most of all confusing, but today's guest is someone who cuts through all of that. Maribeth is the CEO of Sapient Advisors, strategist, advisor, and also trend spotter who has spent over 25 years building and monetizing data and AI products and generating over 500 million in revenue across global financial institutions and fintechs. And she works directly with executives and founders to help them move from signal strategy to growth. And she's built a powerful platform, the Strategy Signal, to help leaders understand what actually matters in AI without all that hype that's out there right now. So much of that. And this conversation is about clarity, power, decision making, and how women can lead in this next era of technology without losing themselves in all this noise. Maribeth, so it's so nice to have you here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Anna. I am honored to be here in the closet. It's special.
Well, you fit right in with the pinks, and I love how you blend right in.
Yeah, the background right here. Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's perfect. And before we dive into all this amazing information that you're going to share with us about AI, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where were you born? Where did you grow up? How did you end up in Miami?
Sure. I grew up in northern New Jersey. Grew up where me and my sister, my parents, and I always had a view of the Empire State Building from my bedroom window. And
That's nice.
And I thought one day I'm going to live there. I had family and whatnot. And then I lived for the last over 20 years in New York City and had a career in financial services and technology. And then 4 years ago, I call it a silver lining of COVID, we ended up in Miami. And Here we are.
I love it. I love that story. A lot of thank you, COVID, for bringing all these amazing women like Maribeth to the city.
No, thank you.
So let's go ahead and dive right in. There's so much noise around AI right now. If you had to simplify it, what should we be paying attention to versus not?
The biggest thing I tell people is stop chasing all the trends with the tools and stop getting the flash with the tools. And just think about what you're doing and what this means to your business and to tie it into that. And it goes back to like the basics. Stop having technology chasing solutions for you. Go back to what your business is, what your business strategy is, and then you go and apply it to that.
Yeah. No, that is a great point. And you talk a lot about finding the signal. How do you personally filter what matters versus what's the hype? Because let's face it, every day there's new models coming out, there's new products, new everything, frameworks.
And anything you've been in technology as well in your prior life and now this is, there's always something coming out in the news and something being hyped, right? And there's always those hype cycles. But you kind of have to look at things, and like I was referring before, is like, what does this mean to my business? Does it mean increasing revenues? Is it operational efficiency, making a better customer experience? And how will it get my business to that next level? And you filter out what matters to you, and you then signal. And sometimes it can be hard to cancel out the noise, but but you have to, or you're not going to be able to focus, right? And focus is what gives you discipline and to be able to execute.
Yeah. No, that's again an amazing answer. And a lot of people are experimenting with AI, and a lot of companies tell you that you have to, or you're fired. You know what I mean? But they're not really seeing real results. What's the biggest mistake companies especially making right now with AI?
Yeah, I think, it's interesting as I talk to people, clients, or other people I know. They're saying, oh, we're doing experiments, and a lot of employees are doing things. And let's say we have a Microsoft Copilot, and we're playing with OpenAI. But then what happens is, and I feel for the business leaders, especially in the mid-markets where they're getting squeezed and they know they need to do something. So they have a bit of FOMO and fear, but they don't have necessarily the understanding. So what I say to them is, let's go and look at what you're doing. And again, it goes back to, I always say, there's 4 main use cases: revenue, customer experience, risk mitigation, and operational efficiency. And then let's start slowly crawl, walk, run with a pilot that means something in an area that you want to make a difference with. And then we can go from there. So I try to break it down very simply for them in business terms and not over tech terms.
Yes, and I think you just answered the next question, because you take them from signal, strategy to growth, right? So maybe we could go a little bit deeper into that now. It sounds like you make everything obviously in simple terms.
Yeah, you know what? I think what helped me in doing that was over my career, having worked for some large financial institutions, is I learned that the business people may not understand all the technology, right? But then you have to break it down to them. I use a lot of analogies and ways to simplify it for them, and then bring it back to their business and what matters. So, and then again, if we do this, we'll get focused, we'll get clear on what your strategy is, where it's taking you, and then we can then plan out a roadmap, and then we can take what your success is and then scale it properly. And a crawl, walk, run. It's
but people want to jump. They do fly there, right?
Yeah.
And we probably have to manage that as well, right?
There's been these pictures on the internet, and our chief data strategist says it all the time. They want to go to the penthouse, but they haven't built the basement or the ground floor, and they want a rocket ship, but we need to do a couple things before we get there. And
it takes a second, guys.
Yeah, so
be patient.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about data, because it's so important, and you've built and monetized data in such massive scale. What do most companies not understand about the real value of their data? Because that really, I feel is all you have as a company, right? What else do we really have to be competitive with others? Because now you can rebuild anything.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because now you've compressed what it takes to build something, to do something, how quickly you can do it. So what I've been advocating is, data and AI are 2 sides of the same coin. And
AI loves data and data loves AI.
Exactly. And so if you don't have good inputs, you're not going to have good outputs, right? So a lot of people, what they don't understand is it's something like 80% of the data in companies is unstructured data that hasn't been mined. So they could.
Oh my God, unstructured data.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
A whole topic.
That's my favorite topic. One of those, because it hasn't been solved yet. Really, that problem.
And they have. But if you look at some companies, that have been very successful, they have had information that they could then use and monetize. So you can first, take the different things like where you're collecting data along the way and make your workflows. But what about, say, if you think about it, a good example is MasterCard, right? They have all that credit card and purchasing data. And what they've done is they've anonymized that data. And there's now benchmarks of different industries and the growth and the spending they see, and now they sell that data to people that can use it in their planning their corporate businesses, looking at what the market's doing, investors. So there's a number of things there. And I think more and more firms, with now what's happening you can actually evaluate that, and there could be an additional unlock of another revenue stream. So, but to get there though, your data has to be usable.
You got to collect data too.
They collect the data, but not all data is usable for
Right.
AI, and that's that part they have to be willing to put that investment in, or you're not going to be able to monetize it.
Yep, exactly. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So data is very important.
Yeah.
And,
It needs to be refined like oil.
oh, like oil. Yes. Like,
Do
data.
something-
A
you
lot of
can't
people
just-
say that data is oil. Actually,
Yeah,
for,
but just like oil, you gotta go do
For
a few
AI.
some things with it. You gotta refine it so it's usable, and this is the same thing.
Yep. Well, AI and data still very male-dominated spaces. What has your experience been as a woman leading in this level, in this space?
I wish there were more women. I'll say that right off the bat.
Yes, I mean, I hope that there will be more and more.
Yeah, I think in general, I would like to see more women in STEM, and I've always said to people I've had like the 1-2 punch because I've been in finance and technology, so I've had those experiences. I remember I really started to feel it when I was at Moody's, and I would be in the room, and there would be all men on these big technology projects. So I kind of learned after a while to take a deep breath, calm myself, stay centered.
You're very calm. Yeah, you're like a very calm vibe.
Yeah, stay centered. I know my stuff. You don't have to raise your voice, but I do know that if you do simplify things, you break down the problem, and then you get clear on where the focus is, and you can move the room forward. And I learned from an old boss when I was there, and I still take it to this day, is be brief, be brilliant, and be off. So if you can do that.
Yeah, like say something, like you don't need to say like a lot of things, but you need to say something, but like that has a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's hard to do.
And it is.
It's easier with AI now, but it's still hard to do, like to make your point across in a very quick, short way like that. And I think, again, I'm not saying men. I mean, I do think men and women are different, and I think for women it's harder to do that because you have a lot more like thinking and emotions and like all that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
For us to structure those things, it takes like thinking, like, you know, where I think for men it's just like more natural to just come out with things like
and
that.
I think with men, sometimes they'll just throw it out there.
Yeah. And we have to think about it like, okay, wait, is that like right? Like, should we say it? Like, you know, that's what happens, and then you like start saying too many things.
And then you miss your opportunity.
Yes,
And that's the other
exactly,
thing,
yeah.
too. And I've learned that, too. And then so sometimes I tell myself, don't hold back. You need to bring it forward. So you got to figure out like when you take your pick your spots and do that. And you know you learn over time. I think like a little bit of intuition, like this is where I need to go with that.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice as well. And tell us more about the strategy signal. What inspired you to start it, and what gap are you filling in the space?
I think really where it came from was watching over the last year or so and watching like this huge hype cycle go on and all this FOMO. And what I saw was, I said, and I also started seeing a lot of content come up in social media and all that.
And a lot of bad content too.
Yes, thank you.
You know,
and I also looked at people and their backgrounds, and I was like, you don't have the same background I do. I have that background. I have more than that background. So why am I not doing that? And then I felt with Sapient and with the strategy signal, I wanted to deliver a message for people, like to simplify it, break it down, how you can take these things, do it, and just demystify it. And I just thought there wasn't a lot of that in the market, and I've been very thoughtful in how I've been doing that, and I've met others, and you know, I think there are people who want to do that and carry it out, and I want people to, you know, benefit from that.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And do you think clarity itself is becoming a competitive advantage in business today?
If you don't have it, you're not going to survive. There's just so much out there.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't do it. Yeah, you have to be very. Yeah, I think that's
focused.
Like, yeah.
I was talking to someone yesterday, and they have discussions with their CEO, like a mid-sized company. And he's like, "We have to do AI," and then he's all over the place. And I said, "Well,
like, yeah, we have to do it, but like, yeah, exactly. You have to have a strategy first, right? Like, you have to do social media. Like, that's what they. You know what I mean? It's like the same as AI. But then you can't just go out there and put stupid things out, right?
Yeah, you have to think about it and how it's representing you. So I said to them, I said, I think you really need a session with your CEO to say, like, what is his goals, and then what the projects will match those goals, and that's what women would do. So, I think I just see that all over the place, and I think that's what people need a lot of help with right now.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that for sure. And how do we really embrace AI without losing that human element, intuition, creativity, and identity? Because I feel like that is kind of what people are afraid of, especially in the creative spaces. Because now, like, you can literally write a DJ set, you could write a song, you could draw a painting, like, you could do all of that stuff with AI, right? Like,
yeah. You know what and I don't want to sound like technical, but one thing that I've thought about is, and even like talking to clients and like recently being on another podcast, was it really, and a friend of mine said it comes down to having taste, right? Whether it's what you do, whether it's how you dress, whether it's how you paint, right? Taste. And I think there are things you can do that you build up that taste, and the taste is what's going to make it different. And what I tell people is, things like, they're great tools like Lovable and things like that can create you a prototype, but you need to put some thought into it and put your own stamp on it and what you see, right? And that is what's going to differentiate you, or you're going to have the same thing everybody else has, and you're not going to break out of the pack.
Right.
That's how, that's how I see it. It's that expertise and that taste in something of what's good, what's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think there's not everything. AI is not like, like you said, taste or style. Like, people have that.
Yeah,
and it's then, not like you can.
I mean, just think about
you could prompt it completely that the same, right?
And then how do you also then develop good taste now too? Is it going to a museum, reading a book, doing your own?
It's by experiences and all of
exactly.
that. The way it does it is by data. Just, data.
Yeah, but
looking at images too, probably now, and watching videos more and more.
But if you were going to a museum, or you're doing something and you're immersing yourself, you see your eye learns.
Well, that's how all these cool things come to about. Yeah,
and then that would apply to what you're going to do with those tools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. That's a great way to look at it. And you operate at such a high level. How do you think about personal presence, whether it's style, energy, or how you show up in a room?
So I think one of the things I've always tried to do is be considerate and polite to others. I just think that, first of all, you got to be respectful. But to show up in a room, I do think, though, how you dress and how you put yourself together does affect your confidence, how you portray yourself, all of that. One thing that I've always liked to do, when I first was in financial service, I did a lot of client-facing work, so I had to wear suits and was a bit more conservative. And then when I went into product, it was a little bit more creative in what you could wear. So one thing I've actually carried out with me is I always like a good pair of shoes or a handbag.
There you go, a good pair of shoes, which we're going to get to your shoes
and so
soon.
I always think that's something that, if it might be something where I have a meeting that's like more in a suit, but I could have a good handbag or a pair of shoes, or it might be something that I'm going to more like a tech savvy event and it's a little bit more chic or casual. You can do different things. So it just depends also your setting that you're in. You kind of got to match that, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, your setting, how you feel, the vibe, all of those things.
And that is going to reflect you in that setting. So
yeah, 1000%. No, that's a really great approach that you have. And what really excites you most about where AI and business are going the next 3 to 5 years? I feel like even it's hard to say what's going to happen in 5 years with this because it's going so fast. So let's just say 18 months to 3 years then, because I think that's really it's even hard to predict that far. Yeah, what do you see?
I think the whole thing is extremely hard to predict. What I like to see, and I think it's happening with some of the firms, is I really think there's an opportunity for the guys in the middle to move quicker than the big guys, right? And I think it can help the smaller people to amplify their business and do more with less. They can have the same people. I think what I would like to see is that if it becomes part of the DNA and culture of a firm, that you can do so much with the agents working together, all of that. You still need to have the human in the center, but I think they're going to be able to do more and things that they couldn't do before. So
exactly, yeah.
that I think is what excites me. I've always rooted for the underdog for entrepreneurs or smaller firms and see what they can grow.
Same.
So I think that's what's exciting to me.
And especially for women listening who feel behind, overwhelmed by AI, I hear this all the time. Where should they start? Like, what should you do if you haven't really tried any of the, Claude, how do you pronounce Claude? Claude
AI.
Yeah,
That's what I say.
yeah. I know. Or Gemini, or ChatGPT, or whatever. Like those are kind of the main ones that we have here.
I always tell people you can't break it. First of all, right? You're not going to break anything. I say to them, also look at something that you just don't like doing, right? And that it can actually take care of something you don't like doing, right? So maybe it's crafting an email, maybe it's drafting a memo, and maybe
a list.
A list, yeah, exactly. It
yeah.
could be your grocery list. Start something, and also then as you get comfortable, and then if there's, especially in your business, if there's like repetitive tasks that are just not value, right?
Yeah.
Have it start to do that. I've talked to a couple of people, and I'm creating one. Is like your own chief operating officer or your chief of staff, like to basically go through my email every Monday and my calendar and what's coming up, and these are the things you have and what you have to concentrate on, and something like that. Now with how much Claude has, leaps and bounds what they've put out with Claude and Claude Cowork. It's you can just hook it up to your email and it can go through that in your calendar. So
Gemini could do that too.
Yeah,
because that's already in your Gmail.
Gmail, yeah, exactly.
It literally has all that data,
yeah,
and all your data, and search data, everything.
And they have a connector with Gmail, so you can do it with any one of these. And they've made it simpler and simpler.
Yeah, you just type in and be like, hey, give me a list of all the people I need to follow up with.
Exactly.
Or whoever reached out about sponsorship or whatever, you know what I mean? And then it'll give you a list and a suggested email to send, which is literally saves hours of you actually thinking about, or, even if you have a CRM, sometimes you forget. Things fall through the crack, you don't record it.
Well, the great thing that I had a client the other day just say for CRM, because they hate going into their CRM. Sorry,
we all don't like CRM. I think that's going to go away at some point.
Yes, and they're actually having us build, put shortcut commands that if they've done something with a client or something, that it will go and then update those fields in the CRM. So they don't want to go in there anymore. They'll have a CRM. They need a record, right, of truth. But they are going to start using commands to go and update it.
Love it, and very efficient.
Yes.
So yeah, don't be afraid. Just go try it out. And I always tell people to use the paid version because you don't want your data to be vulnerable, and just pay for it because you want to own your data,
I always tell people to also go into their settings and make sure they don't have the model learning from them and the training data and all that as well.
Yeah, I think that's something people don't think about.
No.
But yes, so do that. And now I can't wait to hear about these amazing shoes because these are very special. I've never seen anything like it. So let's hear the story. You said believe that you said Spain, right?
Yeah, that's a big compliment coming from you on this wonderful
but
collection.
the color combination is such a good one.
Yeah. So
describe what they are though for people that are not
they're
watching.
Gold shoes with a
heel
sandal. And they, in the front, there's cords.
Like a knot tied.
All sparkly, and there's like a light green, a pink, darker blue, green, blue.
And another darker pink.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a rainbow. And I like them because, they have the gold, and then they have the colors, and you can wear it with white, you can wear it with black, anything, but I always love going shopping when I travel, and I was in Spain, in Mallorca, and happened to go past the shop with my husband, and, went in, and here they were.
And yes, there they are.
And
nobody else has them. That's what I was saying. Yeah. Like, they're very special, and that's what I like about shopping abroad as well, is that you're not going to have... Yeah. You find things that are special and other people won't have.
Exactly. So. Or even in like other like cities, or towns you visit in the States as well, or anywhere you go, or
I think it's harder in the States.
It is harder, but like I feel like if you go to little boutique shops,
yes, then they have like very curated things.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing. And I used to years ago do a summer share in Fire Island, and there was a little jewelry place, and I would always go there because it was different, right, than anything I had. So I find like that's what I do. Whether I'm working or on pleasure, I like to go do a little shopping locally, and why not?
Love that. Thank you for sharing this amazing story. Well, let's do this round of this or that.
Okay.
Signal or noise?
Signal, of course.
Data-driven or intuition-led, or both?
Both.
Yes, I agree. AI co-pilot or human-first strategy?
Human first strategy.
Deep work or rapid iteration?
You have to do the deep work to like set it up correctly, but then you need to iterate so you can learn and improve it.
Great answer. Boardroom strategy or startup chaos? Both.
You need to have strategy, but you sometimes do need a little bit of chaos, and chaos can be good, I think.
Morning clarity or late night breakthroughs?
I'm definitely more morning clarity.
Me too. In the evening, I'm not clarity.
Yeah.
There's no clarity.
You're talking to someone who could never really even like do an all-nighter in college.
No, I could never do that. No.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, I have to get up. I'd rather get up at 3 a.m.
Yes, exactly.
And then study then.
Yeah, exactly.
Go to sleep at like 8 and then we get up and then
Yes,
go to 3.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. Minimalist wardrobe or power statement pieces? I feel like both for you, kind of.
Yes, both for me, yeah.
High level vision or tactical execution?
Vision where execution makes it possible.
Yes. Frameworks or gut instinct?
Framework with judgment.
Yes. Judgment. I like that. Leading quietly or commanding the room? Or you could do both things too.
I think it's both. There's times where like you need to lead quietly, and other times you need to like
Command the room. Yeah, I agree with you. Maribeth, thank you so much for bringing such clarity, depth, and grounded perspective to this conversation and the I Want Her Shoes community. What I love about your approach is that in a world that feels increasingly fast and overwhelming, you remind us that we don't need more noise. We need signal and clarity, and we need the confidence to act on what actually matters. To everyone listening, whether you're building a company, leading a team, or simply trying to keep up with everything happening in AI, this is a good episode to listen to and share. And also remember this, you don't need to know everything. You just need to know what matters for you, because the women who win in this next era won't be the loudest. They'll be the ones who are the most clear and intentional and decisive.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anna. Oh my God, this has been wonderful.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Mwah.